The first thing is the progress. I think there's been some significant progress in the last 2 weeks. First, the finance minister announced the rollout of the third phase in his budget speech, which is exceptional because normally finance ministers will not announce such kind of policy announcements. And then the EGOM, which Mr. Chidambaram himself heads, has actually approved a very important part of the third phase, which is the selection procedure of the auctioneer. And therefore, we are told now that in the next month, maybe the auctioneer selection process will start. And very soon thereafter, the pre-qualification for bidders or for broadcasters will also commence. So I think it's going to be on a fast roll now. I think in the next 3 to 4 months, I think auction should start. There is money that you have in the company, but then you have to be careful how much you spend on your bidding, right? Because that is not determined by how much money you have, but what is the viability of the station. So we have 300 crores approximately on our books. We can borrow more. The primary shareholder is keen on putting more money. Our other shareholders are keen on putting more money as well. But money is not the important criterion here. The important criterion is assessing each station's viability and then bidding accordingly. So that's what we will be doing. E-auction is not a good process for any media auction. Even though, to be honest, a relatively well-endowed company like mine will benefit enormously from e-auctions. And I'll tell you why. In e-auctions, what happens is that auction happens step by step. And the pricing goes up one step at a time. Right? So what's the advantage for a company like me? That we will not lose by surprise. Correct? Because in the other method, which is tendering, you submit a bid and then you realize that, oh no, I'm 10 lakhs too short. And you lose. That's it. It's one step. You're out. You're out of the game. In ascending auction, that cannot happen. At every stage, we can choose that we want to continue or we don't want to continue. So no surprises there. No negative surprises there. Now, what's the problem? The problem is that the bid goes high, which is fine. But here's the problem. The problem is, let's say three frequencies are being auctioned. Right? All three will go at the same price. It's the characteristic of ascending auction. Because all three are being auctioned at the same time and all of them will go at the same price. Now you tell me, if three frequencies go at the same price, how will you get three different programming? If three frequencies in Delhi or Bombay go at a high price and equal price, how will there be niche programming? So that's the problem, and therefore you have to rely on tendering. In tendering, what happens? And look at what happened. In Delhi, for instance, there is Hits FM, which does English broadcasting, right? Because they paid the lowest in phase 2. They are able to do English. But if they had paid as much as we paid, how would you do English? Because the cost is so much higher. That is why we don't like e-auctions. But like I mentioned to you, if e-auctions happen, ENI is very happy because we'll always be there and we have a lot of money. Absolutely, and a lot of growth. And let me tell you why. See, think about it. All of India's economic story has shifted to the smaller towns. So, and what is available to advertise in the smaller town? Newspapers. That's it. Because outdoors is very unorganized. You don't even know if your outdoor is being run or not. So radio comes in and radio takes a lot of the part of the action over there. In a city like Vadodara, for instance, radio has become 25% of newspapers. That's huge. In Bombay or in Delhi, it is 6 or 7% of newspapers. So the real potential of radio is in the growth markets. And I think phase 3, where all the growth is happening in the smaller markets, radio will benefit enormously. From about 4.5% share of advertising, we believe that it will go to at least 7.5 to 8% in the next 3 to 4 years' time. Measurement will always remain an issue because, there is nothing which is accurate. I mean, nowhere in the world is there something which is accurate. So it's always going to be a problem. Besides, the problem with measurement is that you have to pay for it. And somehow broadcasters don't like to pay for it. I don't know why, but they don't like to pay for it. So if you don't pay, then you will get complete rubbish only, right? And if you pay, then you will get something slightly better. But I think more important than slightly better is to have spread out research. If radio is going to be available in 300 towns, can you at least have some measure of research in the 300 towns? I think we should really worry about that rather than worrying about the quality of the research in the top markets or whatever. And I think I think aggregating around, and we can't afford to do research in 300. Let's be honest about it. We're a small industry, and therefore I feel that we have to bind or coagulate around IRS, because that is a huge research with maybe 300,000 sample size and done all over the country and continuous research. And if we can just latch onto that, then we can get quarterly research data available from so many small towns that we can't otherwise do research in. So that's the way forward, I think.